pushback can be very subtle. When you've made your decision, you need to be firm on your decision and don't over explain. Yeah. And then whenever we're trying to improve our boundaries, seek support with it, and definitely make sure your inner circle is the right one. Yes. You know, we've talked about community and the people you spend the most time with. If they're the ones who should be supporting you in your boundaries,
but you can help absolutely no one, and you're not even yourself, if you're helping one wrong person.
It goes back to that analogy that you like, isn't it, about the rope?
The rope. Yeah, if you throw a rope down, like we're here to climb that mountain. We throw a rope down to the next person.
Now, we talked about this before, earlier on, but you will often get pushback, and pushback can look explosive, and then you can look at it like, well, that was a lucky escape. Thank God they're out of my life. But pushback can be subtle too. So it might just be that they try to persuade you otherwise. So it might be that you said no to going out at the weekend for a few drinks. Perhaps you've stopped drinking, or perhaps you've got other plans. And they're like, oh, come on, so-and-so is going to be there. Oh, come on, it's going to, that's pushback. And it sounds like pushback can be very subtle. When you've made your decision, you need to be firm on your decision and don't over explain. In fact, if somebody pushes back on your boundary, say you said, right, I don't want to go, but thanks for the invite. I hope you have a lovely time. And they're like, oh, come on. So-and-so's going to be there. We're going to do this. We're going to this place. It won't be the same without you. Guilt trip.
Yes.
Then you need to reduce your answer and reduce it until it's just no repeated. Because no thank you. You can say no thank you, but not sorry no. Yeah. Because you're not sorry. So when handling pushback, stay calm, take a deep breath. This is good if you're starting to feel anxious. Stroking down your arms like this, so starting at the top and down to your elbow. It just feels so nice. So if you're angry, anxious, frustrated, it's self-soothing. It's like when you were a baby and you were held in somebody's arms. It takes you back to that calmingness. So doing some self-regulation like that, deep breathing, keeping calm, because sometimes people can push back and we can be triggered by that. So keeping calm and say no. And actually, if walk away, like we talk walk away as in long term, right, that's it, I'm walking away from that person. But just in that situation, if they're not respecting your boundary, physically just walk away from that situation. You could say, I've noticed that you're not listening to me. So I'm not prepared to have this conversation anymore. I'll talk about this with you later when you're ready, when you're able to listen, and walk away. Yeah, it's about being very clear and not shaming them either. It's just like, no, isn't it?
Yeah, it's simple as that. Like, I know you reminded me of the time I gave up drinking. It was like you're a leper. You know what I mean? It's like, why aren't you drinking? And you're antibiotics. So Jesus, fuck off. You know what I mean? You kind of have to. You feel like you're an outcast because you're not drinking, and it's like it's so hard to not have that pushback from people. Oh, go on, have one. Oh, go on, have a shot. This kind of shit. And it's just like, I'm deciding not to drink. And I actually
buying you a drink.
Yeah.
I did that when I went out not drinking. And I was like, in fairness, I didn't outright say I'm not drinking. I just said, I'll see how I feel later. I'm just going to drink pop for now, or I'm just going to try this non-alcoholic one for now. And then like halfway through the night, someone came up and was like, I've got you a gin and tonic. And I was like, I'm not drinking. But arguably, you could say that I didn't communicate my boundary clearly enough, because I did say I might have one later.
Yeah.
So
But
maybe she
that's the
thought
thing, and
it
like,
was like,
one of my friends in particular, every night I wasn't drinking, he was like, what, he kept going, why aren't you drinking, why aren't you drinking, all this kind of stuff, and trying to get me to drink. And then the one night I just did decide to drink, I actually asserted a boundary with him, and I said, look, I'm deciding to have a drink now tonight, right? But every other night I don't decide to. That's my choice, and I would appreciate it if in future you don't try to coerce me anymore. You know what I mean? And he actually took that on board. And after that, he actually respected me enough not to say those things again. But you do actually have to kind of speak up and just say, listen, this is my decision. That's it. There's a full stop here. We're not going into it anymore.
yeah. And I think in those situations, it's more about them than it is about you.
Yeah.
Because, well,
It triggers
particularly
people.
with
You know
things
what I
like
mean?
drugs or alcohol or whatever, like when one of the tribe is going, oh, actually, I don't think this is good for me, I'm not going to have it, thank you. And that it makes everybody take a moment of, oh, this is, this isn't good for me. And they don't want to look at that. So it's like, no, it's like, don't leave the cave, don't leave us here, come back.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was one of the biggest party heads of the lot of them. Like, do you know what I mean? I was the drinker. I was the, and I still love partying. I love dancing. But for somebody who was like who drank every day, even had a couple of bottles after work, the person who drank probably the most out of the lot, the one that was awake on the Saturday morning at actually we'd go through the whole night. But I'd be the one with the can at 9:30 on the Saturday morning kind of thing. For me to give up alcohol, it was so weird. So everyone was like, shit, like, it really kind of triggers people when, something's wrong here kind of energy. But yeah, it kind of triggers something within people. It's like, if she's given it up, there has to be a real reason there. Like. And it was, I'll give you my real reason, was because alcohol is poison and it detaches you from your soul. And it actually was invented to lower human consciousness. And I wanted to see what it was like to have control of my own brain again. And that's why I no longer drink. And obviously because I've never had a stop switch.
Yeah, that's my problem. And the difficulty is that now I hardly ever drink. So it's not that I don't drink, but because I hardly ever drink, I'm such a lightweight. But as soon as I've had one sniff of alcohol, I lost sight of the fact that I'm not that 25-year-old party person that I used to be.
Or you'd be dying after a few months.
Just getting like so drunk, and I was like, I don't even enjoy it. I feel awful. I'm too old to have a hangover. It's destroying my brain. It's making me, pile weight on. It doesn't bring out the best. I can be quite fun and everything, but I think if you probably videoed me and made me watch it the next day, wouldn't be anything I was proud of.
Oh, stop! Like I've heard videos of myself. Like I've seen videos of myself back in the day. Thankfully, all those I hope they're all erased anyway. I don't have them anyway. But I have seen videos of myself and I watched them sober and I've gone, oh my god, no. You know what I mean? I'm glad I don't do that shit anymore.
Yeah, and actually, so it's interesting when you go to a club sober, because you're like, wow,
It's
these
beautiful.
people.
I love it. You get to enjoy the music. But even going to concerts or going to festivals, you're not stuck in a fucking beer line all day. You're not stuck in a toilet line all day because you're not pissing for Ireland.
I had
And you're literally getting to enjoy the music and you remember it all.
Yeah. I think there was an element of I didn't remember it because I didn't want to remember it.
Yeah, but when you're drinking, you don't want to remember it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's interesting though, isn't it? I found that there was just so much time, and you're right. And how much you drink, it is craziness. Like I went out and I started off, I was like, I'm going to buy no alcohol gin. So that it looks like I'm out drinking, so it feels the same. But it was so expensive. It was just as expensive as the other gin and didn't really taste, you know, great. It wasn't as good as gin, but pop would have tasted nicer. So I was like, I'm just going to buy a lemonade or whatever.
Yeah,
And
like
I
the way
think
I see
I
it,
had
buy a
about,
tonic water with cordial or something like that with a bit of
yeah.
lemon in it, and it tastes similar to gin anyway, with just no gin in it, and it costs
And I
enough.
I felt so hydrated
Yeah,
after, you know,
how I
after
didn't die of dehydration when I was a drinker because I never drank water. Now all I drink is water. Yeah.
I felt really hydrated after 3 drinks, that I was like, I was trying to keep up drinking pop at the same rate as everybody else was drinking, and
Oh,
I was like,
don't. That's another thing. You can't drink too much pop on a night out either because it actually gives you a sugar hangover. I've done that before, where I was like, I'm great now. I'm drinking fucking orange for the night, and I was dying the next day from a sugar hangover.
but that's the thing. I just felt like the sheer volume of fluids that you drink when you're out getting drunk. It's
Yeah.
nuts. It's like this constant, like, I can't imagine. I'm pretty bad with brews to be fair, but like sitting there and drinking one glass after another glass after another glass after another glass, and then
But that's
standing
it.
up immediately for another
We were
one.
drinking we were drinking because we didn't have self worth. There you
Yeah,
can come into self worth again. You know what I mean? We were drinking to be confident, and now thankfully we don't need. You don't need to sit there drinking fucking glasses of orange to feel confident because you're already confident,
yeah.
and orange doesn't make you confident. Anyway, it's false confidence anyway. But anyway, that's beside the point. Yeah, we went off on a bit of a tangent with
I,
alcohol there. But
I
anyway,
know.
that is one very big area for people that are giving up alcohol or even the simple thing of going vegan. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I've had dreams where I've been afraid to tell people that I was vegan in case they judged me. And I remember
There's a
years
real hatred for vegans out there, isn't
there is
there?
like
It's
I
bizarre.
remember actually I was at a wedding and I wasn't drinking and this young lad turned around to me and goes, I bet you're a vegetarian as well, and at the time I said that, you know, I wasn't vegan, and I actually got so triggered. I was like, fuck you, just because I don't drink doesn't mean I'm boring. And that was like that was my opinion on vegetarians back then, and now I'm vegan.
And
But
now you're
anyway,
vegan.
yeah, and that was honestly the reason I was triggered because I actually wanted to be vegan, but my ego self was like, no, I'm not. I'm not doing that way.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? It's that
Yeah,
triggers again, isn't it? It's triggers.
yeah.
Yeah. And then whenever we're trying to improve our boundaries, seek support with it, and definitely make sure your inner circle is the right one. You
Yes.
know, it's, we've talked about community and the people you spend the most time with. If they're the ones who should be supporting you in your boundaries, you know,
Yes.
so make sure that they are the right people in your inner circle. And that doesn't mean you have to fall out with people, but you know, consider how much time you spend with people who you're having to assert your boundaries with, because it gets tiring, doesn't
But
it?
that's it.
You should only
You're
have
gonna
to
know.
say it once,
Yeah.
and then they should respect it. If you're having to
Exactly.
keep asserting it, then perhaps they're not someone to have in your inner circle. If you have somebody that just gets that that would be your boundary and they fill you with energy, you want to be around them more.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You're gonna know. You're gonna know by your energy if this is a good person or if it's not. But you could be in a good person energy with somebody, but there could be certain dynamics in that relationship that need to change. So by changing that with a good person, you're going to actually make a more harmonious relationship. So that's the good side of boundaries with the good people. But if you're setting boundaries with somebody who's depleting your energy, that's when you're going to get pushback, and that's when you're going to realize maybe this person isn't for me. So doing the boundary thing is going to make it's going to make you see who is for you and who isn't.
Absolutely. Yeah, because sometimes you can be surprised, because sometimes those people that you're really helping, that you're oh, poor them, you have so much sympathy and empathy for them, and then you realize that you've like drained all of your energy into it, and then you're like, actually I need some space. I can't keep doing this, or I have my own stuff that I need to look at, and then see the tiger come out. Don't you?
That's
You know, like
it.
sometimes those people that, oh, poor me, turn out to be quite vicious when you
Yes.
set a boundary. Surprisingly so. Yeah. So, So setting boundaries is a form of self-care, and it reflects your self-worth. So we working on your self-worth, talking to you nicely, all those things that we talked about, journaling regularly, or having some kind of self-reflection practice. So it could be talking to yourself, having curiosity around whether you want to do this. You know, like when you say, before saying yes, pause and think, do I want to do this? Like, do
Mm-hmm.
I want to do this? Like, sometimes we do things because they want us to, or because they'll think we're nice, or because they expect us to. What do you actually want in that
Yes.
moment?
What
And
do you
also,
want? Not what you feel obligated to do. What do you actually want?
yeah,
What is good for you? What will fill you with joy? Not do I have to do this because they're because I have to. I'm obligated to their family, whatever. No. Do you want to do this? Is it good for you?
yeah, and often we won't assert boundaries until we are pushed to the edge. We shouldn't wait till we're on the edge. We shouldn't wait until we have to defend our inner self. We should already have them in place, well out of our personal space, if that makes sense. We shouldn't wait until it gets too much to say that's too much. And I've done
Mm-hmm.
that. I have
Yes.
done that. So there's
And
no judgment.
that's when you end up, like, as I said, I neglected boundaries with my family members, and I have to end up walking
Yeah,
away completely
yeah.
because I depleted myself so much because I didn't remember my boundaries. And that's so important. Set the boundary early so that you don't have to actually lose these people.
Absolutely. And like we said with self-reflection, it's knowing what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we just don't know what we want. And if you are filled with indecisiveness, then you really need to be doing some kind of meditation and um, journaling practice. You need to start noticing what you're doing. What makes you feel good? What makes you feel bad?
Yeah, when I started waking up to this journey and to my own self-healing, the question I kept asking myself, right, does this make me happy or does it make society happy? So ask yourself that.
Good.
Are you doing it because it's what all the other people would do, and that's the norm or the tradition of what your family expects? Or are you doing it because it actually feels good? So use that as a question, because I loved that question at the start. Does it make you happy or is it making society happy?
Yeah, that's a really great question. That's a good one to reflect on. And just also, like, if you find that you're agreeing to plans or doing stuff for other people, or you're always available when somebody's in a, having a crisis. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be there for each other, but if you are there for multiple people all the time, then how can you be there for yourself and the people that you really need to help? You might have, like, I have my children, like, am I making sure that I'm there for when they need me, or am I spreading myself too far for everyone else? So setting
That's the thing, though. You can help multiple people if those people are the right people and they're willing to be helped and they help you along the way. Because when you help somebody, it's a 50-50 street. Like, you help them, they help themselves. It's that's how coaching goes.
That's an important
You're helping the client, but the client is using those tools to help themselves as well. So you can help so many people if they're good energy people. But you can help absolutely no one, and you're not even yourself, if you're helping one wrong person.
It goes back to that analogy that you like, isn't it, about the rope?
The rope. Yeah, if you throw a rope down, like, we're here to climb that mountain. We throw a rope down to the next person. That person who wants to heal is going to pull themselves up as you pull them. But if you throw a rope down to the wrong person, they're going to dangle and they're going to say, pull me up, pull me up. And they're not even going to say pull me up because they don't even want to be fucking pulled up. They just want to pull you fucking back down. Your hands are bleeding and you're about to fall back down. That's one bad person that you're helping. It's going to fuck you so much up. But you can actually throw that rope down to millions of fucking people if they're the people that are going to help themselves up again.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, yeah.
It's that simple.
So,
That's it really bugs me. Like, that one person can fuck you so up. It really can. But yeah, if you have the right people that you're helping, you can help so many.
we've talked about this on another one, and we're running out of time. So what I'll probably do is put the list maybe in the comments afterwards. But we have an acronym that is having passion for yourself. So we've talked about it before, and we're over an hour now, so I'm not going to talk about it, but I will put it in the comments because it's a nice little way to remember about how to set your boundaries. One of them is to set boundaries, but all of it is kind of reminding you of the things that we've said, like being comfortable with discomfort, because these conversations with people can be uncomfortable, and it's okay to be a little bit uncomfortable for a good outcome. So I'll put that in the comments. Anything else?
No, that's it. If you want to just talk about teacher mindset methods before we go.
Yeah, I need to do a proper advert for it. I've said I was gonna, not keeping the promises to myself. I was gonna do one every week, and it's been chaotic the last few weeks, and I've not made one. I will do one over the weekend. But yes, Teacher Mindset Matters. Please join our Facebook group. It's got tips, advice from lots of different coaches. We've got different coaches that whose specialties are different. So there's people that can give you advice on nutrition, people that can give you advice on caring for yourself as a mother or a parent, particularly of young children. We've got the lovely Angela, who's got so much experience with spiritual awakening and transformational coaching. I've done a lot of work with overwhelm and burnout and anxiety and depression, and so there's all
so many different things that we can help people with on that site. Definitely.
There's so much, isn't there? And in there you can post anonymously, so you don't even have to it's not public for everybody to see. It's a private group. You can post anonymously, and we will try and help you problem solve to get you on track on a mindset journey. So search for Teacher Mindset Matters. We're the only one. And I'll see you next week.
Bye. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye bye.